Hello and welcome to the Cameron Sadeghi Show on National Sports On Air. I am your host, Cameron Sadeghi, here with you today. We have a ton to talk about, whether it's the Lakers' offensive saga and who's going to take the ball, who's going to run the offense. We'll talk about that. We'll start off there in the NBA. We'll talk about Terrell Owens released by the Seahawks, and Vince Young cut by the Buffalo Bills. Also, we'll talk about the New England Patriots offensive line struggles. Sorry about the delay. I had a huge issue with Spreaker right now, technical difficulties wise, but that's okay. We're not rattled by it. We're going to start off. We're going to keep going and keep going on this show. Sorry about that. We'll have Noah Friedman. You can follow him on Twitter, at OpenAnnouncer on Twitter, and follow him there. You have me here. Everything's set. Everything's ready. And let's start. Lakers saga. Lakers season preview here today on the Cameron Sadeghi Show, as there's been a lot of question and a lot of doubt on who's running the offense, and some are saying, oh, it should just be Mike Brown, oh, it should just be Steve Nash. Brown has said it should be Nash who's going to be running this offense, and he's got free control of the offense for the Lakers. And I look at this, and with this offensive freedom, I've just been having an off day today, as it's pretty evident today so far. With Nash, his ability to create for others, we know about that. But I have a problem with the chemistry and with this whole issue. If you make this team, this NBA team, this Lakers team, a fast break offense, they're going to struggle. They're not going to make plays and be effective in their offense, in the flow of their offense. You have Kobe Bryant, who, sorry to say, is at this point in his career has washed up legs. Nash is struggling. I mean, not Nash isn't struggling, but he's at an age where it's going to be hard to put all the burden on him. You got Bryant demands the ball, demands a lot of touches. So if you're in a fast break offense, how, with the mileage on his legs and then on his body, how is he going to handle this scenario? How is this going to work out? Plus, you have Metta World Peace, who, as we know, is inefficient offensively. We've got a lackluster bench here with, Jody Meeks, yes, okay, Antoine Jameson, all right. But that's not enough to compete with Oklahoma City. That's definitely not enough to compete with Miami's bench. Yes, you have Earl Clark. Yes, you have Steve Blake. But there's not enough firepower offensively to match up when your starters are coming out. I'm not saying that the Lakers will be a bad team. Don't get me wrong here. I just think that the Lakers, they're going to have such a big drop-off from their starters to their bench. It's going to hurt them, because late in games, the Lakers are just going to be fighting an uphill battle. And that's so tough as a competitor in the NBA. And it's so hard to get things done late in games when you're trying to fight back and trying to play hero ball. As we've got two questions from Carlos Mezquita. This Lakers team is not going to be on Steve Nash's shoulders. Bad point. There's not enough firepower offensively. Okay, then, well, when you're running the show as the point guard of this offense, and it's not going to be on his shoulders, then whose is it going to be on? On Kobe's? How's this? I don't understand what you're trying to get to here. You're saying, you're asking condescendingly, there's not enough firepower offensively. They're off the bench? You think so? If Nash is being given freedom, and then you stick in the bench, do you think that Steve Blake is the answer? Do you think that Jody Meeks is the answer? Is Antoine Jameson the answer at this age? Honestly, are they? I don't think so. I don't think this Lakers team is going to go win the finals this year. Say what you want, but I don't think so. And you ask Carlos, this team is going to still be on Kobe and Pau Gasol's shoulders. What? And Steve Nash is just going to facilitate. He's just going to facilitate? That's running the offense. When you're facilitating and when you're drawing and kicking to the wide open men, of course you're going to have it on your shoulders. If you're not facilitating, you're not playing good offensive basketball. That's simple 101 NBA basketball offensive knowledge. I think that's pretty simple, okay? Carlos, totally disagree with your opinion. I'm sorry. You can't... And first of all, Pau Gasol's been under a lot of scrutiny. And he's not being put... Last year, he was put in a terrible position. He's got a great skill set, and he was not maximized to his fullest potential. And I thought that was a poor job on Mike Brown. You can look at everything that I've said about Mike Brown. There's no one more critical of Mike Brown than I am. Go look at my records, and I can guarantee you that. Okay? So, Carlos, and you agree with that, thank you very much. Okay, I love your comments, I love your questions. We'll talk about how to be interactive on the show. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have Noah Friedman talk about the Lakers. He knows a lot about LA sports. We'll be back in a moment. Alright, we are back here. We will get Noah Friedman shortly. You can follow him on Twitter at @OPannouncer. How do you spell that? Some of you are wondering what is capitalized, what is not. Simple @ symbol with, put the @ symbol in, capital O, capital P, and then the word announcer, ANNOUNCER. Well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the number here today, but getting back to my point, alright, so my point here with the Lakers is pretty simple. I just don't think that because to me the key to a championship is it's pretty simple. You cannot have, like always, you gotta have superstars. I get that. Okay? But if you don't have a good enough bench to withstand leads, to keep the lead, okay? If you have a huge drop-off between your stars and your bench, whether it's defense or offense, you're definitely not going to win a championship. And look at me, if the Lakers win a championship this year and they have a great bench and they do everything correct and they're on top of everything and, everything's perfect, then guess what? You know what I'll say? I'll definitely agree with all of you. I'll tell everyone, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to, yes, the team was good. Yes, the team had a good bench. But it's going to take a lot to convince me. It's going to take a lot to convince me that the complementary players of the Lakers are a good set of players. Don't tell me that Metta World Peace has the same defensive skills that he used to a few years ago. Don't tell me that Metta World Peace can knock down a three consistently like he did in Houston or the likes of Sacramento. Okay? Don't come out with that type of argument because it has no substance whatsoever. And if you seriously believe that Metta World Peace can be a high volume scorer. Now, I don't know if he's repolished his skills this summer or he will in the off season. I'm not sure. Now, if he does, then okay, that's understandable. But I don't know if he will. It definitely hasn't been evident to me. And you can chat right now as actually we're going to get the call from Noah here today. Hello, is it Noah? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Noah, I want to ask you very quickly with the Lakers season preview here on the Cameron Sadeghi Show. According to NBA.com, Steve Nash will have a lot of offensive freedom, and there are some issues with the Lakers' offense last year. Particularly, they couldn't get off good shots necessarily a lot of the time. Do you think with Nash running the offense, do you think this offense could possibly win the Lakers an NBA championship?
Yeah, Cameron, I absolutely do. They're starting to implement a new offense this year. It's called the Princeton offense, which they obviously ran at Princeton College. And to me, that's going to open up a new scene for Mike Brown's offense. Yes, he was criticized last year for his offense because he's really a defensive-minded coach. There's no offense to turn to when you're scoring less than 100 points a game in most games last season. But with the Princeton offense, I feel like I don't know exact totals or anything like that or how it works, like the triangle offense did when the Lakers had Phil Jackson. But the Princeton offense should be an upgrade to what the offense was last year. So yes, Cameron, I do think that it will help them translate into an NBA championship.
I think that's some great insight. Actually, the Princeton offense is something that I really like because it stresses on motion and moving the basketball laterally, getting guys involved, and I think you'll pose more scoring threats. Okay, I believe that. But when you look at the bench, do you think there's a huge drop-off? Now, I know they got Antoine Jamison. I know they have some good talent. It's not... To me, I think there's a huge drop-off between the stars and the bench. Would you agree with that?
I actually would, Cameron, only because you have 3 superstars starting for you, 4 superstars, really. But Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, and then you have the drop-off, like you said, with Jody Meeks, Antoine Jamison, Steve Blake, etc. But last year, the bench was the same as it is this year. Nobody really left, and nobody really came besides the additions of Jody Meeks and Antoine Jamison. So to me, it is a drop-off, like you said, Cameron, but that's only because there's 4 all-stars, 4 superstars in the lineup. So yes, Cameron, it is a drop-off.
Do you think, and I've been extremely critical of Mike Brown, I'm usually more of a guy who critiques on coaches, not necessarily on players, because I think coaches put guys in the right position to play and to maximize their talents. Do you think that Mike Brown is a good enough coach to win a championship?
Absolutely. Look what he did in Cleveland in 2007 when LeBron pretty much took their team all the way to the NBA Finals before getting swept by the San Antonio Spurs. Who was their coach? Mike Brown. He implemented a ton of defense on that team. LeBron and Mo Williams pretty much ran that team. I understand that. But Mike Brown had a great defensive scheme against the San Antonio Spurs for that reason. That's why in 2007 when I was younger, I was pulling for them. I really wanted them to win the NBA title, but the Spurs were a better team in that year. But if you look back on Mike Brown's career, yeah, he only made the finals once, but he had a head coach. But he was a defensive assistant to Greg Popovich in San Antonio. That translated into a ton of championships, and that's what got him the head coaching spot in the first place in Cleveland. So yes, I do believe that Mike Brown has the charisma, the talent to win an NBA championship, especially with the key off-season trades and moves that the Lakers have made this season.
So, could this team, do you think, in a 7-game series, beat the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Cameron, you bring up a great point. Oklahoma City is a very young team, and they're really not going anywhere. I see them as the face of the Western Conference for the next 5 or 6 years. Durant, Harden, and Russell Westbrook are all under 25 years old. And to see them outrun Kobe and Powell last year in the semifinals, I believe it was. Yes, it was the semifinals, Western Conference semifinals. I do believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder have a better chance at beating the Lakers this year. But the Lakers in time, it's more of a long-term move for them when they did pick up Dwight Howard. I think he'll agree to an extension when the time is right. But at the moment,